What is the best job for a lazy person? Back in college, I was a computer lab monitor. I just had to sit in the lab and once every hour count the number of people there. If I was opening or closing the lab, there was about 15 minutes of work for that. But otherwise, I could just surf the web or do my homework. I had this job in college. I did two things. Towards the end of the term, periodically yell, if you are on Bebo, Facebook, or any other non-academic site, please make room for students that need a computer. The printer also had a green button that needed to be pressed once a paper tray was depleted, so it would draw from the other tray. There was a sign above the printer that said this, a sign on the printer that said this, and a sign by the queue to the printer. Still, I constantly have to deal with this issue. The printer's not working. Did you press the green button? Yes. So if I go over there and press the green button, nothing will happen? Yes. Inevitably, I'd press the green button and it would start printing away. I still have no idea why this would always happen. The failure to read and then the lying about having pressed the button. But as far as the job goes, this was pretty sweet. Though, more busy than a parking lot security guard, which is what I came in to suggest. Looks like OP here has developed the mom ability. You know, the one where you can't find something in your room, but then you call your mom over and she looks at the exact same spot and somehow finds it. How? I worked as a security guard for a trucking company on the weekends. The rest of the company conveniently didn't work weekends, so I had the whole place to myself. I worked 12-hour days and walked around a small wing of the property every hour and documented anything that was out of the ordinary. Almost nothing was ever out of the ordinary. Other than that, I didn't do anything. It was actually really boring because the guardhouse was outside of the Wi-Fi area, so I blew my phone data really fast. To cure the boredom and ease my phone bill, I bought a portable DVD player and watched every DVD I had. Books? Surprisingly, management wouldn't let us read books. They said it was because you could get lost in a book and not be aware of your surroundings. Oddly enough, they had no problems with browsing on our phones or watching movies. They probably didn't want you to study your way out of that job. Bill was reading a book. Probably trying to upgrade his skills for a new job. What do we do, sir? He can read? He's already upgraded. Big if true. Large if factual. Gargantuan if verifiable. Humongous if accurate. Astronomical if provable. Megalithic if genuine. Humongous. The person that sits on a chair in the museum. They just sit there in one of the most quiet places I've visited. And when a person stands too close to an artwork, they just cough a little and tell you to step back. Though a friend in college once had this job and he said it was so boring there was no way he could keep at it for very long. I had this job at a fairly popular museum. My duties included clicking a counter every time someone came in and telling them not to touch the art. I wanted to basically die after a while. How do you even interview for that? Why do you want this job? Oh, I'm very passionate about clicking and scolding people. I've always been very passionate about not sleeping under a bridge and starving to death. My near response to, why do you want this job, in every job interview. Not gonna lie, when they asked me that in my job interview, I literally said, well, I need the money to support my YouTube channel. People really don't give enough credit to interview questions. Almost all of the questions, in some cases, they ask to gauge a response more than for an actual answer. Nobody interviewing you for a cash job at Walmart expects you to be a passionate lifer about wearing a blue vest and scanning groceries. They want people that aren't so far inside their own bum that, I just want the money, lol, manages to slip out. At least show the willingness to think and emphasize. Consider what they want to hear and give them some version of that. And for the love of God, unless you want to work for a slaver who's going to end up not paying you, don't tell anyone that your hobbies consist of just working. It doesn't make you look like a hard worker, it makes you look dull. Tell them you like gaming, it's fine. What's with people associating gaming with being lazy? What's going on here? Also, I don't get why you guys stress out in job interviews. Be a hardworking person so when you go into the interview, you're just being yourself. Like, you don't have to play favorites, you don't have to give them some answer that they want to hear, just give them an honest answer. If you're someone hireable and you're a hard worker, they're gonna hire you. A lot of IT-related office jobs at big companies involve a lot of downtime for one reason or another, where you're just sitting around waiting for work to come in. Just be careful what you wish for. I did a 6-month work placement at a place doing QC on a medical data entry. It was as riveting as it sounds. And due to poor management, there were massive stretches of time, like more than a solid week where there was nothing for us to do. We were literally begging for work because we were so bored. If someone had asked me to start hoovering the carpets, I would have jumped at the chance. Note, creative IT jobs like the video games and special effects industry are major exceptions. How dare you? It's the visual effects industry? Security guard. Source, been on Reddit the whole shift. I wonder how many people have snuck past you while you were on Reddit, lol. Honestly, even if I wasn't on Reddit, it'd be stupid easy to sneak past me. According to my contract, I'm not allowed to stop people unless the badge reader doesn't recognize their card. In which case, it beeps to let me know I need to walk over there and see what's going on. 90% of this job is buzzing guests in. 7% is writing my activity report. 12 o'clock at all posts okay. 1 o'clock at all posts okay. Repeat ad nauseum. And the remaining 3% is deadbolting the door at the end of the night. Edit. Because apparently this is an issue for you, I will admit 3% is probably an exaggeration for how long it takes to lock a door. However, I would like to backtrack and say that I feel the percentages are actually based on the amount of effort each task requires out of my total effort expended per shift, rather than the time taken to do it. In short, I'm right, and y'all a bunch of nerds who probably haven't even been rejected by the police academy like the real hero here. Me. When I did security, I had to do an activity report for every half hour and it couldn't be the same. I got very good at saying, I walked in a circle in a dirt lot and nothing happened. Over and over in different ways. Sounds like my job now. Every half an hour just rewording I walked in a circle, nothing happened. Do you have an exact path you take each time? I'm starting to believe stealth games are realistic. Pretty much, I'll occasionally walk my circle in reverse to throw everyone off. Game devs, take note. Now I'm imagining that guy from the trees thinking, oh hell no, he just changed things up and went in reverse. I'm out. Damn it, now what's this butthole doing? Damn, the intel didn't mention this lunatic. Better throw a small stone or something nearby to reset this guard. Shoots an arrow at the guard's head. Ugh, must have been the wind. Do you ever go, huh? What was that noise? Must be nothing. And go back to your normal patrol? I did a security job once and found myself saying to a colleague, that was probably just the wind. When I realized what I just said, I thought, okay, this is how I die. Some people were just born for this world, while others struggle and never find a strong hold. I can't tell if you're joking or not, but there is honestly nothing I want to do and it makes it difficult. Don't really have a drive, and don't really have anything I'm crazy about doing that I can make money doing. I envy people that know what they want to do and work towards it. At least they have a direction. Alright, Banjo64, you want to light a fuse? You've lit the fuse. Listen, if you're alright with living your life the way it is now, then good for you. But if you're gonna be envious towards people who know what they're doing or want to do something, why don't you change something about yourself? Like, instead of sitting here and complaining about how you have nothing, why don't you go ahead and find something? Stick through this video, there'll be suggestions. I feel you there. There's a bunch of stuff I'm kinda good at and could get really good at. I just don't have the drive or desire to put in the time to truly develop those skills. Here's hoping that one day we can both stumble across something that we can have a passion for and a great career. Yeah, keep waiting. If that's how you want to live your life, then keep waiting. Honestly, that's how I felt until I forced myself to start learning more about those things I know I can excel in. The greatest motivator came from the fact that I was finally feeling like I was progressing. In anything, getting started is absolutely the hardest part by far. And I'm just now slowly recognizing that enough to push myself through that motivational drought when it pops up. Definitely not all the time, but even just a little bit of what finally feels like progress to you makes a world of difference. So much of life is up to chance and random opportunity. I find it extremely hard to focus on one interest, and for a long time it felt like I had no real focus because of that. But as time has gone on, that outlook and a lack of singular commitment has paid off in ways I couldn't have imagined. Exactly. If you don't have a focus, then don't try to focus on something because you can't focus on anything. Expand yourself, expand your knowledge until you find something that you want to focus on. Either way, expanding or focusing, you're moving. And unless you're satisfied with where you are now, moving is always an option. Copy editor. You can pretty much work out of your own home and be a professional grammar Nazi. Pay is meh, but it's really not bad once you build up a client base, since you can literally sit on your bum for hours if your grasp on the language is strong enough. I used to be a copy editor for a newspaper. Great gig. Worked 4 p.m. to midnight, so never had to set an alarm. Never had to take my work home or deal with emails or phone calls at home either. Steady, predictable hours, except in the very rare event of an emergency. Almost no meetings, no need to network or smooth with leadership or go to any company events. No complicated long-term projects, no need to work in teams or collaborate. Just sat there listening to music, drinking coffee, reading interesting articles, and fixing stuff if I felt like it. Those were the days. One of my many freelance jobs. It's pretty nice. Okay, I think our definition of laziness is a bit skewed here. There's really like two types of laziness. There's a laziness where you don't want to move your physical body, and then there's a laziness where you don't work your mind. Copy editing or copywriting, which is the preferred job, is not technically a lazy job because your mind needs to be exceptionally good at what it does. So, if you're not a lazy person and you're just lost in life, take a look into copywriting. It could be a potentially very lucrative job depending on what clients you work for. Lifeguard at the Olympics. You need to be pretty unlazy in the first place to get that job though. Get an office job. Figure out how to do it in a fraction of the time. Coast for a couple of years. When a coworker quits, tell your boss that you can add the responsibilities to yours instead of hiring a new person for a 40% raise. Figure out how to do that in a fraction of the time. Get all your work done every day and also spend hours on Reddit. Bonus, literally nobody else knows how to do your job, so they'll think long and hard before downsizing you. It helps if you understand Excel or whatever your office uses, more than anybody else in the company. Ah yes, the classic do no work, spend all day on the internet making six figures job that everyone on Reddit has. I have what Wadsworth is describing, but it took me a couple of years to get to that coast stage. Now I'm bored and wish I had someone's duty to take over, and unfortunately not anywhere near six figures. If it helps, you can play Minecraft in your browser. You could always play Minecraft in your browser. Also, this is exactly what I'm talking about. This is passive income. Work real hard, get all the assets created, get the money. Except these guys are still showing up to work to do their passive income instead of utilizing their time for something better. I don't understand why you're not setting up passive income. Security guard on night shifts and cinema projectionists. What? There aren't really projectionists anymore. What about projectionists though? It ain't a game tester. People think it's a fun and easy job, but tracking down the precise instant a bug happens under what conditions is painstaking, tedious, and a time-consuming task. Exactly. My older brother always said, I wish I was a video game tester. I'm like, yeah, but you don't get to play the games like you're sitting in your undies in your bedroom. You gotta do a list of tasks to try to find bugs. A lot of beta testers I've seen online say it sucks. Can confirm. I've done QA for software and it's gruesomely boring. What takes a user normally 5 minutes to do, a standard task, can turn into literally a full week of only testing after following test plans and changes from developers. Then, once your test confirms that everything is working properly, you need to go do exploratory testing. Meaning, you have to purposely break the application. And it can be the stupidest possible thing that a user will likely never do. But then you realize people are dumb.
You are really dumb.
And they will still find ways to break the app. Game testing is exactly the same. Mass amounts of people absolutely will find a way to break it that the devs and testers didn't even think was possible or worth it to test. I actually do a lot of speedrunning and game breaking, and you'd be surprised about the things that game devs think that we'll never do. It depends on what kind of lazy you are. Work hard 1 to 2 decades and chill for the rest of your life lazy, or wake up at 11 a.m. and go to work at 2 p.m. kind of lazy. Someone in my family works as an anesthesiologist and another as a neurophysiologist. Both literally work 10 to 15 hours a week for $150,000 to $225,000 a year. They worked hard through their education and got lucky at parts, but the payoff is being lazy/retirement capable by age 40 if you're willing to retire to a cheaper country, or 60 if you invest/save well and want to stay in the States. Alternatively, some of my laziest friends, gamers and potheads, work remotely as software engineers or web engineers. This work is task-based and relatively independent, depending on what company you work for, and if you seek out projects for startups/small growing companies, you also get to try your luck at making it big with pieces of equity here and there. Again, passive income. Work really hard to build as many assets as possible so that when you get old, you don't have to work that hard. That being said, most of the people I know who follow this strategy aren't really interested in retirement. I'm pretty sure that myself and all the other guys doing this want to work until we're like 80 or something. I love that you asked what job is for lazy people rather than go find it yourself. True laziness. Airline pilot. I take off and literally go to the back, eat a steak, and then go to sleep. Then come up later and sit there and read a book. Then land and go eat at some restaurant in Europe. This might scare some of you, but as a frequent flyer, I can confirm this. One time I was flying first class and the pilot literally came out to eat dinner with us. It was actually a pretty cool dude. My brother wants to get this job where you review YouTube content, so you sit there and watch YouTube all day, and then rate the producer and write a very short review that can be as short as 1 sentence. Hey, I'm actually looking into doing this as well, except I'm going to get my YouTube certification, and when I write my review, I'm actually going to give you helpful advice to grow your channel. If you're a YouTuber looking to grow big, I happen to know someone. I just want a 24 to 28 hour a week job that pays decently for a simple life. I literally would rather dig canals in 35 degrees Celsius for 24 hours than sit for 40 hours in an air-conditioned office doing virtually nothing. For me, it's just about the hours. But all I see around me are jobs where one works a lot, requires skill, and pays good, or jobs where one works a lot, do not require skill, but pay jack all. And I did them all. For the last 6 years, I changed 5 industries, working a 50 to 100-hour jobs. Currently, I am working a 45-hour job plus 5 hours of commute weekly. I talked about this with my psychologist, and I just can't explain how much I don't care how much the work is meaningful, hard, easy, engaging, or whatever. I just want the hours to go significantly down while earning a livable wage. And by livable, I mean living frugally. However, all I hear is, you are lazy, you are unmotivated, you'll never make it with that mindset, etc, etc. Make it to what? I don't want to live in a villa, be a CEO, whatever, or even a manager or something. God, just a simple, peaceful life. I sailed the 7 seas and I've seen more than most, and I found what makes me happy. Living frugally with my fiance, having time to do my hobbies in peace and make love to her, and to always have a good night's rest. Leave me be with the rest. By the way, last but not least, I would like to mention that I did all my work obligations always dutifully and always went above and beyond and turned down several better paying positions during the years because they meant more hours worked, often significantly. Because I believe that if I have to be at work and people rely on me, I could as well give my best. However, my stance on work does not change. I'm also willing to put some savings aside in the next months/years to get a master's degree in any field that would ensure me such a job. I'm not lazy about that and working towards that one goal. But I do not want that goal to be 10 years away, to be honest. I'm about to ruin this man's whole career.
I'm about to end this man's whole career.
Alright, so the first thing that sticks out in this is the guy saying, make it to what? My interpretation of this is to make it to a happy, peaceful life, because clearly and evidently, you aren't living that happy. Nor are you living that healthily if you have to see a psychologist. Now, your description of what makes you happy is financial freedom. However, what many fail to realize is that financial freedom does not exist. What you're looking for is financial confidence. The ability to live a peaceful life doing whatever you want, whenever you want. There's no such thing as having the freedom to do that, only the confidence to do that, knowing that if anything goes wrong, you can always earn it back. You also mentioned that you'd rather be digging a hole all day rather than sitting in some office somewhere. But then you say that all the jobs around you require a lot of work. So make up your mind real quick. Because if you're looking for a job that does not require a lot of work, does not require skill, but pays a lot, that's like me telling you to draw a two-sided shape. It doesn't work. You say that you've got a goal, but you don't want to work more than 10 years to achieve it. That shows that you want success fast. And guess what? That's possible. But the only way you can ever achieve it is if you work. You may tell me that you've already worked, but you also say that for the last 6 years, you've changed 5 industries. Well, guess what? I've been working in the film industry for 9 years. One industry. Your psychologist called you lazy and unmotivated, but left out the part where you have no focus. Your psychologist was right when they said you'll never make it with that mindset. And by that, they mean make it to happiness. Not when your mindset is, my stance on work will not change. Because if you want something different in life and you're doing the same thing over and over, that's called insanity. You may have worked hard, but you haven't worked hard enough. The only reason you're not successful yet is because you've given up or you haven't given it enough time. A happy ending depends on where you stop the story. Hey, let me know what you think about what I said in the comments below. Don't forget to share this video out to see what other people think as well. Oh, and if you're new here, I talk about these kind of things in my live streams every Thursday and Saturday. I'll see you then. Cheers.